We'll see if yesterday I tried to do a YouTube class and it crashed halfway through the class, which is super frustrating because if I'm taking the time to set it up and turn it on, it'd be nice if it played all the way through because then you just lose whatever So we'll see. Okay, so whatever your comfortable seated posture is, I'm going to sit in a simple cross-legged pose this morning. But if you like hero's pose or thunderbolt pose, whatever posture feels good to your body to begin your practice in. And you'll want to find your base, your sits bones and your pelvis, and just settle your pelvis down against the floor. And then begin that upward rising of the spine out of your firm base. So elongating through the very top of your head. And perhaps adjusting the shoulders so that they're back and softening toward the hips. And if you feel comfortable closing your eyes, and becoming aware of your breath in your body. And beginning to take slow, deep breaths. Letting your inhaling breath spread the ribs open. Firming the belly in on the exhale. Cultivating a slow, deep, conscious breath. Drawing the mind into the body. So now on your next inhale, turn your head to the right, toward your right shoulder. And use your hands to press into the tops of the thighs, pressing the arm bones back and the shoulders back, giving your neck, shoulders, chest, and back a little stretch. Take another breath with your head turned right, and then exhale as your head comes back to the center. Now to the left, on an inhale, turning your head to the left, using your thighs to gently press the heart forward, the shoulders back, squeezing the chin toward that left shoulder, stretching the neck, and then exhaling as your head comes back to center. So let's do that one more time. Inhaling as your head turns to the right, gently pressing the heart through the arms using your hands, pressing the shoulders back, opening the front of the chest. Exhale as you come back to the middle, to the left, inhaling as you turn, pressing the heart up, exhaling back to the middle. So now on your next inhale, let go of your legs and stretch your arms up over your head. Exhaling, interlace the fingers, bend the elbows, flip the palms, press the arms up. Bring your arms forward and down, tuck your chin to your chest, pull your belly back and in, sit on the back of the pelvis, rounding your spine. And when you're ready on an inhale, sit back up. Lift and open. Squeeze the arms together at the top. Press the heels of the hands toward the ceiling. Lift the chin slightly. Inhale again. And exhale to round into your seated cat. Drawing the belly back, pressing the hands forward. Inhaling when you lift. Back to your tall exaltation. creating lots of length and strength in your spine and lifting your chin. One last time, exhaling as you round, drawing the belly back, sitting on the back of the pelvis, pressing the hands forward, tucking the chin. And back up again on your inhale. Lift, lengthen. And when you're ready on an exhale, let your arms open wide, back down, bringing the hands back behind the body. Interlacing the fingers behind your body and rolling open the chest, giving your shoulders a good stretch. Squeezing the shoulder blades together behind you. You can choose both head positions are great, either chin tucked to the chest or head lifted. Both of those positions will give you a different kind of stretch in your shoulders and back. Take a nice deep breath and then slowly begin to release the shoulders forward and the hands back to the lap. So now we'll come out of our seated position onto our hands and knees. And if you were sitting on something, just set it aside. And if you have blocks, have them at the top of your mat so that you can use them through your practice. Coming into your tabletop position with your hands under your shoulders and your knees under your hips. Curl your toes under behind you. Stick your bottom up in the air. Lift your chest up. Push the floor away with your hands. Straighten your arms and squeeze your elbows together. Tip your hips slightly in front of the knees, just a tiny little forward tip. Inhale. And on the exhale, turn the top of the feet down, sit behind the knees and round your back into your cat, chin coming into the chest. So now we're going to rock the body forward and back. Inhaling when you come forward to your cow, toes curling under, chest lifting up, arching the spine. Exhaling when you rock back into your cat pose, tucking your chin, rounding your back, tailbone comes under. Inhale when you rock forward, arching the spine, toes curling under. This is a little bit like a snake. So the spine kind of fluidly flowing between cat and cow. And it might not be very precise. You might find that sometimes you're catting when your hips are forward, and sometimes you're cowing when your hips are back. Really, we're just looking to mobilize the hips and the spine. So you should just feel your body moving without a whole lot of judgment about how it's moving, and just see how it feels in your body as you go. We just want to get the spine a little less rigid, a little more mobile. Nice big breaths as you go. And now the next time that you're forward with your toes curled under, just lift your knees up off of the mat and press the body back to that downward facing dog. Drawing the heels toward the ground, pressing the fronts of the thighs back, squeezing the forearms together and spreading the hands against the floor. Let your head drop down. Take a nice big breath, lifting the bottom up toward the ceiling to stretch the backs of the legs. Take another big inhale, and on your exhale, come forward to your plank. Pause in your plank for just a moment, inhaling, and then exhaling, slowly lower those knees to the mat. Inhale as the tops of the feet turn down and you sit your hips back towards your heels. And exhaling as you round your spine up into your cat pose, chin to chest, tail under, spine lifts. Drop into the cow, pulling the heart forward, tucking the toes under. And when you're ready, press the floor away and lift the knees up off of the mat, back to your downward facing dog. Take a nice big inhale in downward dog. And exhale, come forward to your plank. Pause in your plank and inhale, preparing to put the knees down. Exhaling as those knees slowly come to the floor. Inhaling as you sit back, tops of the feet turn down to child's pose. Exhaling as you tuck your chin, tuck your tail, and round into your cat. Inhaling as you pull your heart forward and up, tucking the toes. Exhaling as you lift back to your downward facing dog. Inhaling in downward dog, one more round. Exhaling forward to plank. Pause and inhale, look forward. Exhale as the knees slowly come to the ground. Inhale as you sit back to your child's pose, last time. Exhale when you round your spine into your cat. Inhale forward to the cow. Curl the toes under, lifting to your downward dog when you're ready. Inhale here. Exhaling, come forward to plank. Pause in your plank. You can use your knees if you need them to lower onto your belly. Inhaling, and then exhaling down to the ground, laying down. So now curling the chest up away from the floor, make sure that your pelvis is very firm into the ground. Lift the front of your chest any amount. Try to make the two sides of your pelvis equal into the earth and your pubic bone. Squeeze your elbows back towards your hips, lift your shoulders up away from the ground. Draw the heart forward and reach your tail towards your heels. Take a deep breath like this, and exhale back down to the ground, turning either cheek to the mat. Inhaling when you curl up away from the floor. Exhaling when you lower back to the mat, turning either cheek to the mat. 2 more times in these little cobra curl ups. Inhaling when you lift. Exhaling when you lower. One last time. Inhale to lift. Exhale to lower. Perfect. So now tuck your toes under behind you. Maybe you need to walk your knees forward and pop your bottom up into the air. Using your strong arms, push yourself up away from the floor and back into downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in downward dog. Get a good grip on the hands and feet. Pull your bum up. Rotate your biceps toward the ceiling and your triceps toward the floor. On your next inhale, bring your right leg into the air behind you and bend your right knee. Stack your right hip on top of your left, opening up, looking under your right armpit, driving your left heel toward the ground. Press the hands forward. Now on an inhale, begin to straighten your right leg. On an exhale, step your right foot forward between your hands, pulling your knee to your chest and stepping forward. Keeping your back knee off of the floor for just a moment. Sorry, I did say stepping forward twice, so that would be 2 feet. And lift your back thigh up, sink your hips down, press your hips down into that lunge and feel the stretch in your hips and your left thigh. Breathe deeply here. Perfect. Now start to pull the hips up into your pyramid. Lifting your hips back, you can shorten your stance if you need to. Put your back heel down on the floor and straighten your right leg. Press your right foot forward, and this is a moment for blocks if the floor is very far. You could just slide those blocks under your hands to help keep the spine and neck in neutral, getting a lot of lift through the front of the heart. Take a big inhale here. And begin to bend your right knee forward into your lunge. And your back heel, it would be great if your back heel stayed on the ground, so you might again shorten your stance. Find your balance, pushing your right foot into the ground and come up to a warrior one. Inhaling as your arms lift, turning your palms to face each other, tucking your thumbs and pinkies in. Press your back left heel down and away from you and bend your right knee forward. Take a deep breath like this. And on the exhale, sweep those arms back by your hips. Tip your body forward over your right leg, lunging forward over the leg. Really press your right hip down toward the floor and lift your back left thigh up. Take a deep breath. On your next inhale, circle sweep back up to the exaltation. And exhale as your 2 hands come back to the floor. If you have blocks, set them aside. Your right foot's going to three-legged dog. Inhale your right leg into the air. Bend your right knee, turn and stack. Right hip on top of left. Turning to look under that right armpit. Take a nice big breath here. And then come forward to your plank. Set your right foot down and maybe lower down to the mat or hover. You can either repeat the cobra pose or you can press to an upward facing dog. So cobra, the hips stay on the floor, and upward dog, the hips are off the floor, and your hips come close to your wrists in upward dog. Take a big breath in your upward dog, and then press back to your downward facing dog again, lifting from the hips, tucking the toes under. Nice job. Take a big breath in your downward dog, firming back through the pelvis. Good. Really elongating the arms, elongating the neck, lengthening your spine, lifting your bottom up. Now take a walk, step or jump forward to the top of the mat. Inhale into your half lift, bringing your heart forward. Exhale into your full fold, laying down on your legs. Let your head hang toward the floor. Relax your shoulders up towards your hips and away from the neck. Press the feet into the ground and see if your legs will straighten. 2 more breaths here. Keep tipping forward and pour the spine down toward the floor out of the top of your head. Last breath here. Keep working on straightening the legs over the years. Now on a next inhale, lift your chest up to a half lift. Exhale here and sweep those arms open past the hips. Reverse swan dive up to stand. Push your feet into the floor. Come to exaltation, inhaling. Exhale as you swan dive forward to your fold. Arms sweep out and down. Bring your body to your legs. Tuck your chin. Lengthen your spine toward the ground. Inhale as you come to your half lift. And now it's our right foot stepping back into the lunge. Pause here in your lunge and sink your hips down low. Press your back right thigh up against the lowering hips. Feel the contrast of those two opposing forces. Take another breath. Widen your shoulders, lengthen your neck. Keep your face soft. Now when you're ready, you'll step to three-legged dog, left leg into the air. Take that left leg back, pressing back through the left foot, driving your right heel to the ground. Then bend the left knee and turn and stack. The left hip on top of the right. Keep pushing the floor away with your hands. Keep your elbows straight and reach back through your left knee. Try to lengthen the left knee farther away from your hands. 1 more breath. And now on the next exhale, you'll step between your hands, the left foot coming forward. Perfect. Again, you're in this lunge. Your hips come down low. Your back right thigh presses up. Now, if you need your blocks for pyramid, you might just grab those now and start to pull your hips back into your pyramid. It's not a bad idea to shorten your stance and get your back heel down flat. Have as much height under your hands as your left hamstring requires, and fold yourself over the top of that left leg. Keep breathing deeply as you fold. Lift and widen your shoulders. Press your feet into the ground and move your left hip back away from your left foot. 1 more breath. Make sure that your back right leg is staying very straight and strong. Now on your next inhale, pull your chest back up and begin to bend your left knee for your warrior 1. You can shorten your stance if your back heel wants to come off the floor. Let go of the floor and circle sweep your arms up above your head. Tuck your thumbs and pinkies in. Make your palms parallel. Really straighten the back right leg and bend the front left knee. Take another breath. Then sweep those 2 arms back past your hips and hinge forward over your left thigh. So you'll be here for just a breath. Try to lift the fronts of the shoulders back. and stretch forward. Make your spine longer. Firm feet into the ground, strong legs, hips hugging in. On your next inhale, circle sweep back up to the exhaltation, and then we'll come to the ground for our vinyasa. 2 hands back to the mat. The left foot steps back to 3-legged dog. Inhaling, bend your left knee, turn and stack. Left hip on top of right. Then coming back to the center and forward to your plank. You can lower all the way to the ground if that's your practice, or you can hover, pushing through to either cobra or upward facing dog. Find your back bend, strengthen your spine, make your bottom nice and firm, press the floor away and lift your breastbone up. On an exhale, pull from your hips to go back to downward dog. Take a breath in downward dog. Press the thighs back. Try to get further back into putting the weight of the body back in your feet behind you. Yes, trying not to bear the weight in the hands. Yes. So now you can walk or step or jump to the top of the mat, inhaling as you go into your half lift. Heart comes forward, exhaling to your full fold, draping your spine forward over the fronts of the legs. And again, the hard work is asking those legs to be straight, firming the fronts of the legs back, lifting the backs of the legs up, coming forward with the balance, standing on the front of the foot, driving the heels down into the ground, and lengthening the spine toward the floor. Relax the shoulders away from the neck. Press the top of the head toward the floor. Last big breath here. Now on your next inhale, come back to your half lift. Exhale, pause. The arms will come past the hips to stand up. Your arms sweep back. Inhale as you circle all the way up above the head. Push the feet into the ground. Reach up through the fingers. Squeeze your legs. Exhale your arms down and stand in mountain. Take a breath here and feel your tall, beautiful body standing. Firm the legs. Firm your feet down into the floor. Take the tailbone in, take the sacrum in, draw the belly back, make the chest wide, and lengthen your neck. Soft face, 3 breaths. 1. Let your eyes become soft in your head. 2. Press your fingers toward the ground outside of your hips. 3. Pull the front of the spine up, belly in. Now on an inhale, circle sweep the arms back up. Exhale as you swan dive forward to your fold, out and down. Inhaling to your half lift, heart comes forward. Exhaling, step the left foot back into the lunge. Pivot that left foot down flat to the mat for warrior 2. And on an inhale, lead with your left arm and stand all of the way up. On the exhale, bend your right knee into the lunge. And on the inhale, straighten your back left leg. Firm that leg away from the right knee. So getting really strong in that left inner thigh, standing on the pinky toe side of that left foot. Move your right knee to the right. Soften your right inner thigh toward your right knee. Press back through your left fingers and lift your ribs off of your hips. Make your neck long. Turn to gaze over your right middle finger. Take a deep breath. Then exhale, come over the top of the right leg for side angle pose. Your right hand down to your block or the floor. The left arm up over the left ear. And you're turning to gaze up at your left hand. Turn your chest toward the ceiling. Bring your pelvis under your body. 3 breaths. The back left leg is still very firm and lifting. 2. Reach through those left fingers and lift your left waist and hip toward the ceiling. 1 more breath. 3. On an inhale, please stand back up. Let the left arm lead the way, all the way up, straighten your right leg, preparing for triangle pose. On an exhale, come out over the top of the right leg, bringing your right hand to the floor of the block, left arm up high, and really firm that right leg so it becomes straight, and then you squeeze it. Start to squeeze your back left thigh to match and open the front of the pelvis like a book. Turning your chest up toward the left thumb, gazing at the left thumb. 3 breaths. 1, keep the ribs long, keep your neck long. 2, press your feet into the floor, keep the legs firming. 3, on your next inhale, pull with your left leg to stand up, inhaling up. Exhaling, rebend the right knee to warrior 2. This time come inside of your right leg. Come forward over the right leg and inside. Wrap this right arm under the right leg and behind you. And then maybe even your left arm will reach back. If your hands will bind them. And then start to turn your chest open toward the ceiling, any amount. Taking nice big breaths for 3. Opening the front of the left chest. 2, keep your back left leg very firm and lifting back. 1 last breath. 1. Releasing the bind on an inhale, stand back up. Exhaling, bring your 2 hands to the ground. Pick your back heel up off of the floor. If you got a little bit strung out, you can shorten your stance. Set your blocks aside, put your 2 hands down, and step back to downward facing dog. Inhaling. Come forward to plank, and we'll go to the left side plank. So turning onto your left hand, pivot your feet to the floor, lift your right arm up. Beautiful. Press the floor away, lift your hips high. 3 breaths. 1, firm your arm bones toward your hips and lengthen your spine out the top of your head. 2, lift your hips a little higher. 1, bring that right hand back to the mat. Lift back to downward facing dog. Take a nice big breath. Let it be a rest. If it's not a rest, come down to child's pose. 2, if you'd like to go through vinyasa, you can go plank, chaturanga, up dog, and down dog. It's always an option in a flow class. 1. And we'll take a walk. Oh, there she goes. Well, we might as well, right, Charlie? You want to go plank, chaturanga? Up dog and down dog. Okay. So now walking, stepping, or jumping forward to the top of the mat. Inhale to your half lift. Pull your heart forward. Exhale to your full fold, draping yourself down over your legs. Leading with your heart, the arms sweep back and open all the way up. Reverse swan dive. Exhaling to stand in mountain pose. Take just a moment to stand tall and firm. Press your feet into the ground. Squeeze your thighs. Take your tailbone in, your sacrum in. Lift your chest up and widen. 1 more big breath. Now on an inhale, circle sweep your arms up. Exhale, swan dive forward to fold. So here's your standing series on the left side. Inhale to your half lift. And exhale as your right foot steps back into your lunge. Big, long step. Now we're going to warrior 2 on the left. Your right foot pivots down flat to the mat. Your right arm leads the way as you stand up into warrior 2. And then you'll sink those hips a little bit deeper and bend the left knee. And then you'll begin that upward lift with your back right leg. You're really pulling the back right leg away and spiraling your left thigh to the left. Gazing over your left middle finger. Move your right ribs to the right. Move your left ribs to the left. Soften your left inner thigh towards your left knee. One more big breath. Lengthen your waist, pulling the ribs up off of the pelvis. Keep your neck long. Now on an exhale, come forward over the left leg for side angle pose. You can use a block or the floor. Left hand down and right arm overhead. Palm faces the floor. Turning to gaze up at your right palm. So your head tips back and open. Back right leg firming up and away, and you're opening the front of the pelvis. Make your waist lift toward the ceiling. Bend the left knee into the lunge. Sink the hips. Turn your chest, open up. Last big breath. And on your next inhale, you'll stand all the way up, preparing for triangle pose. Straighten your left knee, inhale. Then tip forward over the left hip, exhale. Left hand down to the floor of the block. Right arm up. Firm your left leg towards straight. And then squeeze the leg muscles from the tips of your toes to the underside of your butt bones. Make your back right leg very firm. And begin to press your spine forward. Lengthening your rib cage. Lengthening your neck. Keep your shoulders back. Begin to open the chest. 2 more breaths. Lift your chin slightly. Turn your head, gaze up at your right hand. Last big breath. Use an inhaling breath and pull with your right leg to stand up. Inhaling up. Exhaling, rebend the left knee to warrior 2. This time, we're coming inside of the left leg. And your left arm will wrap around the inner leg. If your hands will easily bind, you might take your right arm behind you and find your bind. So you're here for 3 breaths. Begin to turn your chest open toward the ceiling and bring your pelvis under your body. So you're trying to open it up. 2 more breaths. Open the front of the chest. Open the front of the hips. Lift your legs away from each other. Last breath. On your next inhale, release the bind. Stand all the way up. 1 breath in warrior 2. And exhale those 2 hands down to the mat. Pick your back heel up off of the ground. Step back to downward facing dog, inhaling. And then it will be our right side plank. When you're ready, you'll come forward to a plank and turn to the right side. The left arm comes up high. And you're working on keeping the hips up high in the air for 3 breaths. Maybe even gazing up at your left thumb. 1. Make your spine longer. Press the head away. 2. Lift your hips a little higher. 1 last breath. 3. On an exhale, bring the left hand back down. Lift back to downward facing dog. Find a rest in downward dog. If you love vinyasa, you can go plank, chaturanga, upward dog, and downward dog. Breathing all of the way. Very nice. So now let's come through onto our seats for boat pose. Walk your legs through. Sit back on your bottom. Stand your feet flat on the ground. And get your bottom firm. Tip your body back. Stretch your arms forward. And if you'd like to, you can walk the feet back and maybe even lift your legs up. Some of you will straighten your legs. Hug your knees together. 3 breaths. Press the hands forward towards your ankles. 2, as if you're going to just touch the outer ankles. 1 more breath. Now slowly lower your low back to the ground. Keep your shoulders off the ground. Your knees can either come over your hips or you can stretch the legs out and maybe even hover your feet above the floor. 3 breaths. 1, keep reaching through your hands. 2, keep your shoulders off the floor. 1, now using lots of strength, you'll pull yourself back up to your boat. Squeeze the knees together and extend the arms forward. 3 breaths. 1, make your shoulders wide, your neck long, keep your jaw soft. 2, try to touch your outer ankles with your fingertips. 1, Baddha Konasana, bring the soles of the feet together for butterfly. Put your feet down on the ground, hold on to your toes, and tip forward. Take 3 breaths in your bound angle. 1, make your shoulders wide. 2, firm your belly in. Reach your tailbone into the ground. 1, let your legs soften toward the floor. On your next inhale, sit all the way back up. Stretch your 2 legs straight out in front of you into staff posture. Inhale as your arms lift up high to the sky, and exhale as you fold over your legs into seated forward fold or Paschimottanasana for 5 breaths. 1, firm your belly back. 2, press the legs into the floor. 3, stick your bottom out behind you. 4, lift your chest toward your toes. 5, on an inhale, sit all the way back up. Stretch your arms up above your head. Exhale as you circle sweep your arms behind your body. Point your fingers at your bum. Tip backward into your palms and open the front of the chest, lifting your heart up, straightening your arms. You could stay right here with your legs on the floor, or you could point your toes and pick your hips up off of the ground for 3 breaths. 1, maybe you'll want to let your head fall back. 2, keep the hips high if you came off the ground. Keep the chest high if you're on the ground. 1, slowly lower your hips back to the floor. Sit your ribs back over your hips. Slide your hands next to your hips and point your toes straight up. Take a deep breath like this. Now bend your right knee and stand your right foot on the ground. Then step your right foot out to the right and bring your right butt out to the right. Then take your right arm inside of your right leg and reach under your right calf. There you go. Your left hand reaches to take hold of your right foot, and you'll pick that foot up off the ground. Then you're using your 2 hands on your foot to help bring the right knee behind the right shoulder any amount. Your right foot points straight forward. There you go. And you're just trying to set your right leg over the back of your right shoulder eventually, right? So it's a pretty big hip stretch. Take 3 breaths here. 1. If you can keep working. So Charlie, it's not foot behind the head. It's thigh behind the shoulder to your foot point straight ahead. There you go. Try to put your underside of your thigh behind your shoulder. Last breath. 1. Okay, so now leave that there and bring your right hand down to the ground. Good. Tip forward so that you feel your right leg over the back of your right arm. Good. You can stay right here. This is a great place to be. Or you can take your left foot and hook it over your right ankle. I know. So you just creep your foot back. There you go. Maybe your right toes help. There you go. And then you're going to tip into your 2 hands. You'll tip to the left, and your 2 feet extend off to the right. It's called broken in 8 places pose. You don't have to pick it up off the floor, but if you can, do. You squeeze your legs around your right arm, Charlie. There you go, dude. So strong. So I'm not strong enough to come off the floor yet, so I just lay my chest down toward the ground. And it's still a really great stretch. 1 last breath. Now we'll come back up, sit back on the bottom, release the feet forward. Good, it's fun to be challenged. right? Yeah, it's called broken in 8 places pose. So let's move on to our left side. So now your left knee bends, and you walk this left leg off to the left a little bit, and you also walk your butt out of the way. Then your left arm comes inside of the left leg, and then yes, you braid your left arm under your left calf, and you pick your foot up off of the floor. And your right hand reaches forward to help. Your 2 hands hold your foot, and you're kind of stepping the left leg up over the back of the left shoulder as much as you can. Right. So it's a lot of hip opening, a lot of stretching. That's why we did those long warriors where they burn a lot, because you have to have really warm muscles to ask your hips to open like this. Take a nice big breath here. This is a great place to stay, by the way. But if you're wanting the challenge, you bring your left hand down to the floor and you start to tip forward. There it is. So now that right foot comes back and you step your right ankle up over the top of your left ankle. So the legs kind of fulcrum on each other. Then you'll tip over to the right, putting your 2 hands on the floor. Your 2 legs extend off to the left, and you see if you can pick your butt up off the ground. Take 3 breaths. Yep. There you go. 2. Good job. 1 more breath. 1. Set it back down. I'll tell you what, I'm just still too heavy to get my hips up off the ground. 2. It's a fun pose. And it really is like, it's kind of a glory pose that you don't have to have tons of strength to do, or even flexibility. It's like an advanced posture that really anyone can work toward. You just have to have a little persistence and insistence, and right? But we all have that, so that's no problem. Okay, so now I want you to split your 2 feet wide. And then we're gonna head into our seated wide angle forward fold. So stretch your arms up, inhaling, and exhale as you fold forward between the legs. And Charlie would like to know that after you achieve the balance of this, once you get this and you're balanced, then, I did it too fast, right? Then your right leg will unhook and fly into the air behind you. So you're up and you're balanced, and then your right leg, your left leg, which leg? I'm having a moment. Maybe it is, eventually you fly. I know, but that doesn't, maybe it is. I mean, you have to have, your right leg has to stay there. So then maybe it is your left leg goes up and back. Eventually. But Charlie, you're so strong. You're so strong that I think that you could move toward that. Okay. Okay. All right. So you all have been folded that whole time I was talking to Charlie. So let's come back up into our tall seat. Perfect. Lift your 2 legs back in, put the soles of the feet together, and then thread your 2 arms under your calf muscles for tortoise pose. You'll take nice big breaths here. For 3, 2, 1 more breath. 1. Okay. Inhaling as you come back up to your seat. Okay. So 2 legs back out in front of you. Help yourself forward to the front end of your mat and lower yourself all the way down onto your back. Hug your knees into your chest.